So we're going to talk about the shackles, shattering the shackles, escaping slavery. Like literally, if you are in debt, you're technically a slave to the bank. It's really that simple. If you have consumer debt, you are a slave to someone else. Are they going to kill you? Are they going to rape you? Are they going to cut you up and sell you for organs? No, Bank of America is not going to do that, but they can sue you, garnish you, and in certain states, throw you in jail. Yes, they can still throw you in jail today in 2023 for not paying your bills. Yes, there is such a thing in the United States that they will throw you in jail if you don't pay your bills. We got to escape the shackles of slavery. Tonight, I want to talk about how you can get out of debt. And I want to talk about bankruptcy. I want to talk about debt consolidation and debt settlement and what those things are, because there are lots of misconceptions on those. Filing bankruptcy does not fix your credit. It keeps you from getting sued. See, when you file bankruptcy, it gets all beat up, and then we want to clean it up. So you still got to fix it afterwards. So when you file bankruptcy, there's really two types of bankruptcies for consumers. There's Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. A Chapter 7 bankruptcy is a complete wipeout of all your debt. Your house, your cars, your credit cards, your collections, your judgments, your tax liens, all of it. It will wipe out all of your debt except student loans and criminal loans. So if you got a DUI, hurt somebody, or got a DUI and you have a fine to the state, it doesn't wipe out criminal. It will take care of taxes, but not student loans. And that's how we fix a student loan problem. So file 7, Chapter 7 is a complete wipeout. You can file Chapter 7 every 8 years. Completely wipes out your debt. There's no limit to how much you can file on. I've done it now twice. So I did Chapter 7. They wiped out all the debt. What's a Chapter 13? It's when you pay back your debt. So you go in, they say, okay, well, you make X amount of dollars. Here's how much your debt is. We're going to wipe out half of your debt, and then you pay back the rest of your debt over the next 3 to 5 years. That's a Chapter 13. You can file a Chapter 13 as many times as you want. So that's the 7. Chapter 7 wipes it out. File it once every 8 years. Chapter 13, you can file many times as you want, and you have to pay the debt back based on what the trustee, which is an appointee, it's not a judge. They can be a judge, but they don't have to be a judge. So that's how bankruptcies work. The second type of debt, getting rid of your debt, would be debt consolidation. Let's say you owe Bank of America, American Express, Discover, any other bank. You can go to another bank and do debt consolidation. And they'll say, okay, you owe 10 grand here, 10 grand there, 10 grand there. They take the 10,000 on all 3 credit cards. They put it in one loan of 30,000. That bank pays off the other credit cards, and then you pay one payment to that bank. That's debt consolidation. Now this is crazy now. There are credit card companies that own nonprofits they'll refer you to the nonprofit, and then the nonprofit says, okay, we're going to take all this debt, put it in one payment, and you make one payment to us, and then we'll pay the credit card companies. Well, that nonprofit is controlled by the credit card companies. Now you might ask, like, why would a credit card company start a debt consolidation nonprofit to save me, the consumer, from filing bankruptcy? Well, because if you file bankruptcy, if it's a Chapter 7, the bank gets nothing. If you file a Chapter 13, it's up to the judge how much the bank gets. But if you call the credit card company and they refer you to their debt consolidation company, they get a larger portion of it because they own that nonprofit or they run that nonprofit. So that's how debt consolidation generally works. Then we have debt settlement. And you might have heard the commercials for it. If you have $10,000 or more of debt, please give us a call and we'll wipe out your debt for pennies on the dollar. Here's how these companies work. You call them up, and let's say you owe $10,000 to American Express. They're going to say, stop making payments. You stop making payments, and instead you pay the debt settlement company. They put it over here in a fund, separate account. So instead of paying $500 a month to American Express, you pay $500 to the debt settlement company. $500 goes in a separate account. They then pull $300 out a month for management fees. So you put $500 in, they pulled $300 out. You have $200 remaining. After years of doing this, you'll have a little bit of money in there. And once you get sued from American Express, this debt settlement company reaches out and settles it for approximately 70% of what you owe, 50 to 70%. So not only do the debt settlement company take 60% of what you paid them in management fees, you then have to pay back the credit card company 50 to 70%. So when it's all said and done, you're paying like 90% on the debt, and your credit is ruined. And on top of that, you have to pay income tax on that savings. It's not a good deal. Rarely a good deal. Most of the time, you're going to pay about 70 to 90% of the original balance and pay taxes on it and probably get sued and screwed up your credit for 7 years. So that is how most debt consolidation, bankruptcies, and debt settlement companies work. Either file bankruptcy, you consolidate before you're behind on your payments, or you let it all go to collections, hopefully don't get sued, and then pray and beg them not to sue you, garnish you, and levy you. Now, that brings me to how we do it, because we actually have a debt settlement division. And the way it works at Fortress is this. If you owe someone money, whether it's a collection, a charge-off, credit card, a repo, or any other type of money that you owe, as long as you're behind 1 month payment. But if you got current credit cards, as long as you're 1 month behind, we will reach out to them. No money out of your pocket, zero. We'll reach out to them, and then we'll ask them to accept 5 to 50%, depending on the bank, depending on the company. We know how much they're going to accept up front, generally, because we do this every day. If it's Bank of America, for example, we might offer them 10% because yesterday they accepted 10%. If it's Chase, we're going to offer them 15% of what you owe. If it's Capital One, we're going to offer them 50% of what you owe because we know what they will accept. A lot of these companies, we have contracts with them where we simply send them an email right up front. Hey, got a new client for you. It's Chastity Lambeth. She owes you $10,000. We'll accept it. We can send you $1,000 today. Let me know if you want to do this. Because we know Chase will take 10%. So we send them the email. They come back. They reply with, yes, we'll take it. Then we work out the payment arrangement. It's done. You don't pay us anything until after the bank says we'll accept that settlement. And then at that point, we charge you 20% of what we save you. So in this case, if Chastity owed $10,000 and we settled it for $1,000, that means we saved Chastity $9,000. So 20% of that savings would be $1,800. So Chastity on a $10,000 credit card would pay a total of $2,800 over the next 4 years at 0% interest. Versus if she went to one of these big companies, she's going to spend 70 to 90% upfront with no payment arrangements. So that's how our debt settlement works, is 20% of what we save you, no money upfront, no management fee, no retainer fee, no maintenance fee. It's 20% of what we save you. Now, if we go in and discover that we can get the entire debt dismissed and you don't have to pay anything at all, and we do this all the time, especially with repos, is we're going to charge you 17% of the total debt. So back to Chastity. She has a $10,000 credit card. She gets behind on the payments. We look through the paperwork. The I's are not dotted. The T's are not crossed. So therefore, it's not legal for them to collect it. We send them notification. They say, our bad. We're sorry. We're not going to bill Chastity anymore. We're going to delete this $10,000 from her credit report, and she doesn't have to pay us. Happens all the time, by the way. We would then bill Chastity 17% or $1,700. So that's how our system works. Recently, we've had a gentleman that bought a $40,000, it was technically $42,000 truck, never made a single payment, not one. Truck got repoed. Not only did we get the truck back, but the bank had to send our client $12,000 and remove it from his credit report. So he got a $42,000 truck, didn't pay a dime, and got a check for $12,000. Why? Because the banks illegally repoed it, and they technically did auto theft. And they either paid the 20 or the 12 grand and gave back the truck, or they were going to go to jail. Somebody's going to go to jail for auto theft because they illegally repoed it. They stole it. Had another client, showed $200,000 to Chase for a student loan that she'd been paying on for over a decade. We go through the paperwork, found out Chase never signed the original application. They forgot to sign it. So not only did they have to wipe out the $200,000 of student loan that was owed, they had to refund her for what she paid in for over a decade. Now, those are some extreme examples. Most of the time, if you owe $1,000 with our fees and with the settlements, you're going to pay 30 to 50%. And generally, you can get it on payments at no interest. So that's how our debt settlement works.